Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Football's coming up in a couple of hours, but until then, there's a couple of amazing pieces of mail that I cannot wait to get into. The first of which being now, if I remember, the message I got correctly, this is one of Budget Rip's 400 sub giveaway wins that was won by Alex at Jay's Mix, who then tagged me in it, and then I believe Budget Rips threw in some extra stuff as well. Links to both of them down below. Hopefully I got that right. I read it and I was like, okay, I'll try to commit it to memory, and, well, we all know how that unfortunately happens, but there is a rather thick little envelope, and they said they also did include some extras, and there's a pack. Okay, what is this pack of? Oh, my God, I haven't seen these in years. And I've never actually seen a pack of them. Sportflix. Oh, see, 3D was never better than the 90s, 80s and 90s. I'm just saying. That's going to be what we're going to end with. But there's 3 little team bags, and I see black and gold. So let us get into it. And we're going to start off with Uncle Slappy's favorite, everybody in Canada's favorite, Sid the Kid. We love Sid the Kid. Well, he was a kid about 15 years ago. Oh, my boy, Jaromir Jagr, still playing hockey. Age 113, I believe. We got Jagr on the OPG. Le Magnifique. I can hear the hate. I can hear it and feel it. On the Pro Set, I always loved these. The checklists, the art with the artwork. Really loved those, and I love to get them TTM when I get a chance. Unfortunately, Mario does not TTM as far as I know. Lemieux's scoring streak, I never actually saw those ones. I only had like the base sets for Upper Deck. Mario, the franchise, you know what? In so many ways. On the OPG with the Conn Smythe trophy, always loved the ones that had the hockey trophies on it. They were great. They need to do that again. Jaromir on the all-rookie team, looking fresh-faced and still mulleted. Ooh, switched into baseball without me realizing. Paul Maholm, man, there's a name out of the past. What in the world is this? 2011, it is sparkly. Ooh, I like that. Pittsburgh Pirates, Topps Diamond, I don't think I've ever even heard of that series. Gregory Polanco on the Future Stars. Ooh, Jason Kendall, but this is the gold draft pick. I do not have the gold one. I have the regular one. I really liked Jason Kendall. I was a big fan of him. Brian Giles. Love me some Brian Giles. Back when they were really trying. You know, they were trying, but it was just them against the world. And some football, and there's more football here. So perfect transition without me even realizing it. The Bus on the Fleer Mystique. Ooh, love the Bus. Bus goes up there. Ooh, 81 team leaders. Jack Lambert. Wait, Jack Lambert and Mel Blount tied for interceptions in 1981? That's interesting. Did not realize that. And Rod Woodson, the man who deserves so much more attention than I think he gets. One of the best of all time. And now some football. Football. Our thoughts turn to football once again. Well, it's championship weekend. As I'm recording this Saturday, let's see. When we got Detroit, San Francisco first, we'll start off with a beautiful, beautiful mosaic of Pat Freiermuth. Ooh, old school Steelers too. Frank Pollard. Sizable Benjamin. He's not large anymore, but he is sizable in the old Miami Redhawks uniform. George Pickens, please get your attitude right, young man. Please, please, please. The great one. Clemente, you go up there. Barry Bonds on the Jimmy Dean. Let's go. Love Barry Bonds. Jay Bell, he was one of my favorites growing up. Jack Ham. Man. Franco, Larry Anderson, L.C. Greenwood with 9 sacks in 1978. And again, it's interesting that they put that on a card because Donnie Shell, Hall of Famer, the 5th of the 5 Hall of Famers they got in 74, Rocky Blyer. But anyway, before I get too far off track, the fact that they put the sacks on a trading card as up until 82? I think it was 1982 was the first year that the NFL actually counted the sack as an official statistic. So it's kind of interesting that a few years prior, Topps was actually putting it on cards. Pops, Willie Stargell, you go up there. Cordell, the man who I think was way ahead of his time and unfortunately ended up at the wrong team for what he was for. What in the world? Talk amongst yourselves a moment. What is this? One of the youngest contest winners. Oh, that's actually really cool. A contest to draw a trading card. I wonder if that's the same thing. Yeah, that's another one. That is cool. I did not know that was a thing. Sorry, we're going down all sorts of rabbit holes. Cordell again on the rookie. What could have been. TJ Watt. Whoa. Beautiful Heroes card. You go up there. Cordell, again, stellar performer. He had his moments. He definitely had his moments. A beautiful, beautiful Clemente. And one of the more rare things that in my collection, I think I only have one or two of them, and they came from Adam's Card Closet. Hines Ward wearing the number 15 jersey that he had in his rookie year. I think it only lasted that year, and then he went to the more familiar number 86 the following year. Oh, please, kid. I want you to be good. Please, please, get your head right. Let's go. Come on, next year, let's take the reins off. Not much is going to change, but we're going to hope anyway. We got this, kid. Josh Bell. Ooh, first Bowman. Nice. There we go. This, oh, and it's Jay Bell. I think I'm going to try to send this one to get it signed because I love these signed, and Jay Bell is a good signer. There we go. The Sport Flicks, the stuff that resides in that pack. You can see it in its glorious motion, and you can see why 1996 had it right with 3D. Oh, the Jason. I like these ones. Hello, here I am. Hello, world. How are you? How are you? Got a mirror card. What we got here? Steel City Champions. We got Jay. We got Slick. And Tim Wakefield. Rest in peace, man. See, that's the thing. People forget. That's where he started. In the black and gold. We got a Najee Harris Select Rookie. And the Oneil Cruz Holiday. What one is that? The silver, I think? Oh, I love Holiday. And I actually have some Holiday. It's going to be coming up tomorrow, actually. But you will have to wait for that. However, we're going to get into the pack of Sport Flicks, and then maybe we're going to get into the pack of Sport Flicks. There we go. And then we turn our attention to our final thing for Sunday. Oh, the glorious 3D. And this is the first time I've ever actually taken these out of a pack. And I did not... Ooh, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Oh. Ooh. Cubs socks. Cubs socks. We got the double awards winners, Rick Sutcliffe, Tom Seaver, and Fernando Valenzuela. Is Fernando in here? Oh, there he is. Yep, you gotta go down a little ways. There's Fernando. That's crazy. Get three guys on there. We got here simulated magic motion disc. Propaganda. But we do have a couple of these. The trivia. Oh, I don't know if I got it. There it is. Who had the highest batting average in a World Series? Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Bobby Richardson, Billy Martin. Let's say Mickey Mantle. And no, Babe Ruth had a record 10 hits in 16 at-bats for 625. Wow. All right, let's try this one. The player with the most career steals of home was Ty Cobb, Rod Carew, Jackie Robinson, or Maury Wills. Ty Cobb. He was a base stealer. Ha-ha! Ty Cobb with 35. I wonder if that's still the record. We got one more. We got, and they don't put the names on it, but it's okay. You forgive him. Steve Sachs. Oh, nice. 3D. And the final one. Tigers. Shout out Lisa Z, Sticks G, and Cole. We have on the Sport Flicks. Jack Morris. That's a nice one. Set that aside. Put that on Lisa's pile. So I'm going to pause 1 second, organize slightly, and then we're going to get into the final part of this Sunday extravaganza. All right, we're back. Moved everything to the side. We need a little room. Roberto can stay up there because we love Roberto. It's back twice in 1 month because, excuse me, the one I did earlier this month was for December. I just was out of town. But this is the January History by Mail, and let us see what in the world it is. Order for appearance. Received December 1951. Oh, Brown versus Board of Education. The clerk will enter the appearance as counsel for the appellates. Thurgood Marshall. Received December 3rd, 1951. Oh, on the back, here's the... oh, that is cool. Appearance for appellate filed December 3rd, 1951. Okay, Brown v. Board of Education was one of the landmark ones back in come on, before you open it, 53, 54? Let us see. Thurgood Marshall's order for appearance in Brown v. Board of Education, December 3rd, 1951. Enclosed is an order for then-attorney Thurgood Marshall to appear before the U.S. Supreme Court in the 1951 case Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka. Marshall was the legal counsel for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, at the time. Later, he would become the first African-American justice on the Supreme Court. Marshall was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1908. In second grade, he shortened his name to, because his name was Thorogood. I didn't even notice that. To Thurgood because he got tired of spelling all that out. I do not blame you. His father often took him to watch court cases, later debating the merits of the arguments. In 1933, he graduated first in his class from Howard University School of Law in Washington, D.C., before starting a private law practice in Baltimore. He focused his practice on pay discrimination against teachers after seeing his mother, a kindergarten teacher, paid far less than her white counterparts. In 1934, he represented the NAACP in the Maryland Court of Appeals case Murray v. Pearson, along with Charles Houston, a prominent African-American civil rights lawyer and Marshall's mentor and law professor. Together, they disputed the separate but equal, I was going to say that was Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, by using the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. They argued that Maryland did not provide comparable state-run education for black law students. The court ruled unanimously to order the University of Maryland School of Law to desegregate and made segregation illegal in Maryland. It would take another 2 decades, however, before the Equal Protection Clause was applied to all public education in America, with this one, Brown v. Board of Education. In 1940, Thurgood Marshall founded the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. In his 27 years as legal counsel for the NAACP, from 1934 to 61, he argued 32 cases before the Supreme Court, of which 29 were judged in his favor. All right. In December 1951, with the enclosed document, Marshall was called to the Supreme Court to argue the case Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka. I can never remember if it's V or versus when it comes to legal cases. I know somebody in the comments is going to tell me, looking at you. Earlier that year, Oliver Brown had filed a class action lawsuit against the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas. His daughter Linda had been denied entrance to a white-only elementary school. The U.S. District Court in Kansas ruled that public school segregation had a detrimental effect upon the colored children, and contributed to a sense of inferiority. Okay. However, the court did not overturn the separate but equal doctrine from Plessy versus Ferguson, or v. Ferguson, allowing for segregated public facilities. The Brown decision thus appealed to the Supreme Court. When several other school segregation cases came before the Supreme Court in 1952, they were combined into a single case under Brown v. Board of Education of Topeka. Marshall had already argued and lost 2 of these cases at the federal level before they were appealed to the Supreme Court. Though Thurgood Marshall was the chief plaintiff attorney, his main argument was that school segregation violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which holds that no state can deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Marshall practiced his arguments for months before groups of lawyers and law students at Harvard Law School. He included a unique form of evidence, a social science experiment. Social psychologists Kenneth and Mamie Phipps Clark had conducted. This was the dolls experiment of segregation on black children. When given a choice between black or white dolls, a majority of black children from segregated schools identified the white dolls as nice and the black doll as bad. When the children were asked to point to the doll most like them, some children became emotionally upset at having to identify with the doll they rejected. The Clarks concluded color in a racist society was a very disturbing and traumatic component of an individual's sense of his own self-esteem and worth. Marshall decided to include their findings in the Supreme Court case despite warnings from other civil rights lawyers that the justices would not be swayed by stories and demonstrations with dolls. Well, we're going to find out. Originally, Chief Justice Fred Vinson believed the separate but equal verdict should stand. However, in September 1953, Vinson died suddenly of a heart attack before the Brown case was heard. President Eisenhower replaced him with California Governor Earl Warren. New Chief Justice Warren garnered a unanimous verdict against school segregation in a decision handed down on May 17, 1954, which stated, "In the field of public education, the doctrine of separate but equal has no place, as segregated schools are inherently unequal. Thus, the court ruled that the plaintiffs were indeed being deprived of the equal protection of laws guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment." The Brown decision was a landmark case that ended America's 58-year practice of legal racial segregation. Footnote 11 even included the citation of the Clark's doll study as a factor of the decision. Interesting. The landmark verdict, however, did not detail how schools should be integrated. Well, therein lies the problem. They just said you can't do it. They don't tell you how you should. In May 1955, the Supreme Court issued a second opinion in Brown v. Board of Education 2, calling upon lower courts and local school boards to desegregate with all deliberate speed. This vague directive allowed many school boards to stall or deny it or defy it outright. Exactly. In 1957, Arkansas Governor Orville Fabus, called up the state National Guard to prevent 9 black students from entering an all-white school in Little Rock. Eisenhower had to deploy federal troops to allow the students to attend the school. And then we have the Justice Marshal. In 1961, President Kennedy appointed Thurgood Marshall to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, covering the territory of New York, Connecticut, and Vermont. In 1965, President Johnson appointed Marshall to be the U.S. Solicitor General, arguing Supreme Court cases on behalf of the U.S. government. This appointment made him the highest-ranking African-American government official in U.S. history. During his 2 years as Solicitor General, he won 14 of the 19 cases he argued. Man, this guy had a pretty good batting average. Thurgood Marshall was high on LBJ's list of possible Supreme Court nominees due to his success as Solicitor General. When Associate Justice Tom Clark retired in June of 1967, Johnson appointed Marshall to fill the vacancy. On August 30th, 1967, Marshall was confirmed as a Supreme Court Associate Justice by the U.S. Senate with a vote of 69-11. President Johnson, a civil rights supporter, was aware of the importance of appointing the first African American to the Supreme Court. Marshall served on the Supreme Court for the next 24 years in the perennial debate. I'm sorry, I'm losing my grip there. In the perennial debate, there it is. Between judicial activism and conservatism, he favored activism. He viewed the U.S. Constitution as a living document, kind of how it was meant to be. During the Constitution's bicentennial celebration in 1987, he stated, "The government that they devised was defective from the start, requiring several amendments, a civil war, and major social transformations to attain the system of constitutional government and its respect for freedoms and individual rights we hold as fundamental today." Not an unfair statement. Marshall was part of the liberal majority on the Supreme Court until the balance shifted under Reagan. He was pro-choice in the abortion debate and opposed the death penalty, which he viewed as cruel and unusual punishment. He issued decisions on hundreds of cases and issues throughout his time on the bench, and many famous lawyers, judges, justices, and law professors clerked for his office. In 1991, he retired as Associate Justice due to health issue and was replaced by Clarence Thomas under George H.W. Bush. Marshall remains America's most famous civil rights lawyer. Thurgood Marshall passed away due to heart failure in 1993 at the age of 84 and is buried in Arlington National Cemetery. His papers were donated to the Library of Congress. Marshall made history by leading the charge to end segregation in America. Fittingly, numerous buildings, schools, and even the Baltimore airport are named after him. President Clinton said in a presidential proclamation upon his death, Justice Marshall's 29 victories for the U.S. Supreme Court breathed life into the text of the 14th Amendment and guaranteed all Americans equality and liberty in their individual choices concerning voting, housing, education, and travel. There's the link if anybody wants to check that out. Pardon me, that was a good one. That was the big civil rights case, the one we all were taught in school when we were doing the civil rights movement lessons. And I did not realize that Thurgood Marshall had such a, dominating record as a prosecutor, or as an attorney, I should say. But history by mail, always fun, and I want to send a thank you again to Budget Rips and Alex at Jay's Mix. Links to them down below. Awesome cards, awesome history. Hopefully we get a couple of awesome football games, and this would be probably a really, really good Sunday. So that's going to do it for me. Hopefully you enjoy the football that's coming up, and we will catch you later.